This video is going to be a little bit different from pretty much anything that I've made on this channel before. I've been pretty much binging all of James Popsy's videos from the last 1 or 2 years in the past days, and kind of sparked my excitement for photography again. I'm so rusty in Lightroom that the idea of a Fuji X100 or a Leica Q3 with those built-in presets kind of was just an interesting. The only problem is that those cameras are very expensive and very hard to get your hands on. And I have a Sony ZV-E1 that is focused on video and only has 12 megapixels. But in the past week or two, I played around with the creative looks in the ZV-E1 as well. And I really enjoyed it, because it kind of is just like editing in camera. So I'm pretty much just using the JPEGs, and I'll show you a few of what I've taken in the past weeks just to play around with it and have fun. The photos are not necessarily meant to go on Instagram in a post or anything. It's just for stories and for memories. But instead of taking it with the phone, where it's over-processed and I don't really like how it looks, this brings me a lot more joy. So we are about to set on a hike here in Queenstown in New Zealand, and I thought I would make a video about kind of finding my way back to photography a little bit with this camera, and if 12 megapixels are actually enough for photography, or if I'm still craving something else. So we'll talk about that at the end of the video, but now let's head on the hike and see what we can explore. I think it's a quite steep one, so yeah.
I'm burning bridges with society. Oh, my heart can't be tamed, it keeps pulling me across the canyon into the great unknown, into the wild.
So, getting back into photography, what I used to love the most and why I got into photography in the first place was that it just gave me a different perspective on things. And I guess filmmaking and videography do the same. But there's just so many more things to consider in terms of movement and making it look cinematic. I guess you can do that with photos as well. But I always just liked having a different perspective, and photos for me is a bit easier. I'm really on a mission to simplify everything, both for my videography, but it's definitely been the key with taking photos as well. So what I've done to set up the ZV-E1 to make it as easy as possible to shoot photos, just switch it over to photo mode, and then I'm basically ready to shoot, is first of all, using one of the creative looks. So I'm using the one that's called FL. I'll try to put on screen what I've put the settings to, but it's basically just editing the photos in the camera. And then I've set it to a minimum shutter speed of 1/125, so it doesn't go below that. Auto ISO between 80 and, I think I set it to 6,400 or 8,000. And then I just control the aperture, so basically aperture priority mode. And I set the exposure compensation. So I'm basically just seeing on the screen what the JPEG is going to look like. And then with the Creative Cloud app, which I've really enjoyed using on my phone, I just import the photos and post them to my stories. And it's that easy. So even if I just bring the camera around on having a coffee or something as I've done in the past days, I just enjoy taking the photo, transferring to my phone, and then I'm good to go. And I also shoot the raw photos, but I'm so rusty in Lightroom that I don't really enjoy the process of editing them as much as I do editing video. So this has been perfect. About the 12 megapixels, we'll talk about that when we get to the top, but those are the settings, the simplicity that I've put up with the camera. Just switch it over, shoot photos, and then be good to go. And I actually really enjoy shooting this way so far. Let's head on up to the top.
To the wild I go. It's time to break free from all that's holding me. I'm letting go of all I'm supposed to be. It's time to give up everything I know. Into the wild, to the wild, to the wild I go.
We made it to the top, summit of this little hike, and as I said, I really enjoy shooting photos with this camera, mainly because of the creative looks and just kind of editing it in camera. There are 3 things that I wish this camera had for photos, and that's my own mistake. I bought a video first camera because I thought I was only going to do video, and classically now I want to do photos too. It's just the curse of always wanting something different, I think. But first of all, I would love some more megapixels. I think for posting on social media it doesn't really matter, but the few times I've tried editing the RAWs in Lightroom, I just wish I could crop a little bit more, and I can see that it's only 12 megapixels. I think 20 at least should be the minimum. But for video, this camera is amazing, so yeah, it's always a balance. Then I wish it had a shutter sound. No, that sounds maybe stupid, because sometimes you want to turn that off. But the fact that it doesn't feel like I'm taking a photo, only the screen blinking, yeah, that kind of feels a bit weird. And then the last thing, I wish it had an EVF, which hasn't really been a big problem for video. But for taking photos, it just feels more like a real camera when it has an EVF. But those are just minor things. I do really enjoy taking the photos with this, and I think the key is simplicity. When I used to shoot photos, I used to look at the settings all the time and shoot in manual and try to do everything myself to expose it perfectly. And just having one dial for exposure compensation, and then I'm using the different metering options to see which one fits the scene the best to get what I want. And I just hit shoot, transfer to my camera, to my phone, and then it's perfect. So really enjoying it. Not saying the photos that I'm taking are the best. You've seen them throughout this video, but it's not about that. It's not about being perfect. It's just about creating something and having fun with it. So let's head down again to the car, and I'll end the video there, I think. Let's go. All right, we're back at the car, and you've seen all the photos already. I haven't, but I can't imagine them being the best photos in the world, and I don't think that's the point of this video or me doing this little session practice thing. But I am trying to find ways, both for photography and videography, to make it a lot easier. One reflection that I had on the way down is that I instantly have gotten into the not shooting video and then just shooting photos, which is originally why I didn't shoot so much photos. And it feels like my brain can only focus on one of the two at a time. So I completely forgot to do any videos apart from one, and then Joya shot some B-roll that you've seen throughout the video. But yeah, I think I want to get good at doing that. And if that means having 2 cameras that's specific for each thing, or if it just means getting used to shooting with this, then yeah, I don't know. But just a reflection on that as well. That's kind of been one of my struggles all the way through. But I really enjoyed making this video. I don't think this is not going to turn into a photography channel all of a sudden, but I felt inspired by James Popsy's videos, and I hope you enjoyed it for whatever it is and was, and maybe got a few tips for shooting photos if you're into that as well. And yeah, it was fun. And if you're curious about the settings or anything else, then leave a comment below, and maybe I can make another video about that. Oh, Joy is pushing the camera. But yeah, I will end the video here. It's kind of a random ending, but yeah. I'll catch you in the next one, and until then, take care.